My wife came out as a lesbian yesterday, and I'm struggling to cope with the heartbreak and uncertainty. We've been together for 10 years, married for 4. She is the love of my life, and the thought of living life without her is unbearable. Yesterday morning I woke up, noticed her sitting on the patio crying, so I obviously went to go console her and figure out what was wrong. While fighting back tears, she manages to tell me that she's a lesbian and she's so sorry. She isn't attracted to me anymore, but she also doesn't want to leave me. I've always known she was into women as well, but it was never an issue for me. We've had quite a few threesomes with different women over the years, and they've all been amazing. I've even been fine with her exploring that side of herself with other women without me. I just wanted her to be happy and fulfilled. The entire day was spent either crying or talking about our now uncertain future. All the plans we had made about buying a home, travel, getting dogs, cats, retirement, went up in smoke. We had a fantastic sex life up until just a few days ago. We would have sex at least a few times a week, and we rarely failed to get each other off. We experimented and grew with each other over the years, exploring new kinks, figuring out new ways to please one another. I told her I didn't blame her, that if she really is a lesbian, it's not her fault and she hasn't really done anything wrong. But it doesn't make it hurt any less. She's my best friend. We have such a wonderful, supportive relationship. We've been through so fucking much together. I can't stand the thought of losing her and starting over. She said she doesn't want to leave me, that she still wants a future with me, just without the sex. But she also understands how unfair that is to me, so she's fine with me finding a fuck buddy or two if I wanted. All I really want is her, though. I'm so insanely attracted to her, and I make sure to tell her so every day. She's the sexiest woman in the world to me, but finding out that attraction is one-sided has obviously shattered my heart and crippled my self-esteem. I don't know what to do. I'm certain most of the comments I get will be along the lines of move on or the classic lawyer up, start hitting the gym, but I don't know if I'm strong enough to do that. I'm praying she's going to wake up and realize she made a mistake, that she's just overwhelmed, confused. Deep down I know that's not how this works, but the wounds are still so fresh I'm grasping at any little straws of hope I can find. We don't have any kids, all our pets have passed away. But we did just move into a new house last week, so we may be stuck together until next March at least. I just want my wife back. Now for the comments. Comment 1. Damn. Dude just decided to speed bump a lifetime worth of tragedy in a year. Respect for coming out the other side still kicking. Comment 2. Anyone else bothered that the ex came out as gay and wanting to end the marriage and had to sleep in a shed for a summer because of it? Doesn't seem particularly fair. Update. Hola, Reddit. Long time no talk. I figured it was about time to update y'all on the roller coaster that has been the last year of my life. Allow me to start with a few apologies. Sorry for the jumbled mess. That was my original post. I was a mess at that time, and apologies to everyone that reached out that I didn't get back to. There were a lot of you, and it became too much to continue replying with the same answers over and over. I appreciate every one of you that reached out with kind words and those that shared their similar experiences. 1 year ago today, I woke up, got out of bed blissfully unaware of the fact that my life was about to completely crumble around me. That morning I found my wife on our back patio, clearly in distress. So obviously I put on my best husband hat and went to figure out what the issue was. I assumed it was something work-related, but I was very wrong. While fighting back tears, she manages to tell me that she's a lesbian and she's so very sorry. I'll never forget the feeling of the world closing in on me as the most intense fear, panic, confusion, grief began to set in. Initially, she said she wasn't going to leave me, that we could do couples therapy, figure out a path forward together. Of course I agreed. 3 days after receiving that news, I was informed by my mother that my stepdad was diagnosed with stage 4 lung cancer. 3 days after that, I was told by my father that my stepmom was also diagnosed with skin cancer. Thankfully my stepmom had surgery and is cancer-free. But my stepdad wasn't as fortunate. He passed away last November. He was a wonderful, funny, kind, successful, impressive man, and I miss him a lot. Having all of these things hit me within a week caused me to completely spiral out of control. I refrained from going to work. I couldn't eat. I couldn't sleep. I merely existed. I became one with my couch and distracted myself with hockey podcasts and weed. My wife did her best to be there for me, but she was obviously going through her own turmoil. She retreated into her own world, physically, emotionally. For a bit of backstory, she had spent her life with crippling anxiety, and the mere thought of a tough conversation was enough to cause her to break down crying. But months prior to all this, she had begun taking anti-anxiety meds, so now she was finally able to communicate to me not only that she was gay, But all the other times I had let her down. 10 years worth of moments I had been inconsiderate or insufficient as a partner. I always thought we had communicated well, but apparently that was more one-sided. And I had always thought I did a wonderful job as a husband. I tried to be attentive, thoughtful, caring, compassionate. I was never abusive or cheated. We rarely fought. And when we did, we always ended up talking it out like adults. I thought I was doing a great job, but I wasn't doing the things she needed out of a partner. But since she never communicated it to me, how was I to know? Hearing about all these little moments that I had let her down hurt like hell. But it also gave me a light at the end of the tunnel. A mission. Save marriage. I couldn't do anything about her being gay, but I could damn sure make up for every instance of neglect. I put together a plan to prove to her I was worth staying with. I surprised her with a picnic, got us tickets to the circus, made a reservation at a restaurant for the first time in my life, took her for her favorite kind of food. I begun learning French. She's French-Canadian. I took the lead on planning our next big vacation. I started writing her a song. I was going to give her guitar lessons since she had expressed interest in the past. I spent every minute of every day for the next 2 months figuring out ways to show her just how much she meant to me. She was also able to confess that she wanted children. We had agreed early on that kids weren't on the table, but she had a change of heart. And for her I would have absolutely done it, and I told her so numerous times. In May, she left the country for a girls' trip to the Dominican. It had been planned for at least a year. We agreed to go minimal contact during the week-long trip so she could get her head straight and really figure out what she wanted. We actually hooked up the day before she left. It was the first time in 2 months I felt like everything was actually going to be okay. But the day she came home, she officially ended our marriage. Now, one of the toughest parts of this situation was we had just moved into a big new house with a few roommates on March 1st. Neither of us could afford to have her just move out right away. It would have screwed ourselves and our roomies over financially. We live in Vancouver and it's bloody expensive here. So we figured out a system of sharing the room. There were even times where we would still share the bed, but it eventually became too painful. So I renovated the large shed in our backyard with a futon, air conditioning, a TV, and basically lived in it all summer. She began dating someone, so as time went on, she was gone more and more, until she had basically moved out but continued to pay rent. During these months, so many people close to me went through tragedies too. One of my closest friends lost his mom to cancer. A good friend from high school lost his wife to cancer too. I had known her through work, and got to see them begin their relationship, get married and have a beautiful daughter, only for it to end so unbelievably tragically. And mere weeks before my stepdad's passing. My stepsister's longtime predator chose to end his life. The amount of grief I felt for myself and those close to me was unbearable. Unfathomable. So much loss in such a short period of time. Every day for months I thought about ending it all, but kept going, mostly because I couldn't do that to my parents. For all the bad that took place, there was actually some good. I quit my toxic but well-paying job in May due to being so overwhelmed and their lack of sympathy towards my situation, and that led me to find an absolute dream job a few months later. Now I work as the quality control guy for a large music retailer's guitar department. I get to play, test, fix guitars every day, and it's a dream come true. A few buddies and I entered a radio contest last summer, actually won it. We improvised a 30-second commercial, submitted it, and out of 80 entries, we won $10,000 nationwide play. My ex-wife actually saw our commercial play on the big screen before a movie once. I started a stupid YT channel with a good friend doing dumb reaction videos. It's not even remotely successful yet, but it's a fun outlet. The Christmas prior to my wife coming out, she had bought me the Blu-ray box set of the entire Dragon Ball Z series, and somehow we managed to watch all of it. Before, during, and after the split. I'm quite proud of that for us. And finally, last November I met someone really special. She was also out of a long-term marriage, and they had split for pretty much the same reason. We've been officially dating since New Year's Day. She's absolutely wonderful. Beautiful, intelligent, successful, and insanely talented artist. She's inspired me to start painting, and I've inspired her to take up guitar. We've been helping each other heal and enjoy life again. My ex and I are on good terms. We still care about one another and only want the best for each other. She was there when we saw my stepdad for the last time. She and my mom are still friendly, which honestly makes me really happy, and she officially moved out on March 1st of this year. It's been a wild ride. From breaking down and bawling my eyes out 10 times a day, to where I am now. With the best job I've ever had and a fun, promising new relationship. I truly didn't think I'd make it through, but I have. Now, for the next story. My dad is insisting that my uncontrollable stepsister join me on my trip, and I told him I'd never forgive him for it. I 17 female am graduating and my friends and I have already planned a trip to a cabin for the summer before we start college. I have been a babysitter since I was 13, so I have saved up a considerable amount of money. When I was 15, my dad got remarried about a year and a half after my mom passed away. My dad's wife had a 13-year-old daughter, and as soon as we moved in together they started to push her off on me and force us to do everything together. I don't like my stepsister. She's always throwing tantrums if she doesn't get what she wants. She's spoiled to the point that at my 16th birthday she got her own special cake so she wouldn't feel left out, and she also blew out the candles on my cake, and when I complained my dad told me it's time to grow up. Being a sister is about sharing things. I told him I didn't have a sister and I guess she overheard and she went on a rampage. The party was ruined. I distanced myself more from them after that. I'm forced to either take her with me to places or stay home with her if I can't take her, or my dad or dad's wife can't watch her, or don't want to deal with her. Imagine everything that I said she does with my dad and his wife onto a 15 to 17-year-old me. I was forced to take her bowling with me and she would not stop trying to dig her hands in the part where the balls come out, and she tried running down the lane, so I had to take her home and my night was ruined. This happens a lot, but they don't care. I have tried to keep this trip a secret from her, but when I was in my room on the phone talking about it over pizza and music, I found out she snuck in and hid in the closet and was eavesdropping. She bested out asking if she could come and I told her no and to get out. She started stomping her feet and she ran out. My friends begged me to not invite her. My dad called me downstairs and asked if she could go because she could use a vacation, and I told him I'm not taking her. They can take her on a vacation, but I'm not watching her for almost 3 weeks alone. My dad's wife called me selfish and that my dad was paying for a portion of it anyway, and if Lily doesn't go then I don't get to go. I told her she doesn't get a say in any of this, she's not my mom, and to stop forcing her child on me when she created what she is. Lily starts yelling at me about not being a big sister and I don't want to spend time with her. I snap and tell her I don't. She ran away crying and my dad said he won't pay for the rest of my trip if I don't take her. So I told him if he does that I will not be talking to him anymore, nor will I forgive him for it. He said I'm being dramatic and she isn't bad. So I grabbed a bag and went to my aunt's house, my mom's sister, and told her what happened, and she said she would put up what he took away and when I go to college I can stay with her. I told my dad what I was doing, and he blew up at me and said I was being a brat and they're my family now, and not my aunt. As far as I know, she does not have any disabilities. She's been to doctors and therapy. She's just insanely spoiled, and that's how she's always gotten her way when told no. The first time I met her everyone agreed on Mexican, except her, and she was yelling in the car for 10 minutes before she calmed down by her mom appeasing her. Then she goes back on her phone texting. If she does, then that explains why she acts that way, and I can take it that she can't help it, but I still shouldn't be forced to watch her 24/7. Comment 1. When? It's understandable that you want to enjoy your trip without the pressure of babysitting. You deserve to have fun with your friends. Comment 2. It's tough to navigate family dynamics, especially with a spoiled step-sibling. Setting boundaries is important, and it sounds like you're doing what's best for your mental health. Update. I know a lot of people wanted an update to my last post. I can't post a link so you can go to my profile to see it. The trip happened, and I did not end up taking her like I said I wasn't. From the time that I posted that up until the time that I left, the household was very tense and awkward. I was not speaking to any of them. The only person I had to confide in and talk to my aunt, and I'm so grateful for her. My dad still thought that I was going to bring her on the trip, and I kept telling him that I am not watching her, and she is not coming with me. The morning of the trip we left at like 6 in the morning. When he called me I was already about 5 hours out, so he couldn't do anything. When I got back it was a lot of yelling and crying from me and my dad and his wife. She said that I left them in a tough position and they had to stay home because they couldn't get anyone to watch Lily. My dad and I had a serious talk for hours and he agreed that maybe we need to separate so we can work on our relationship. Which hurt me, because I would have liked for him to tell me I can stay in my own home while we do it. But I did end up going to my aunt's house with no issues. My dad and I started family therapy with just the two of us. His wife was pretty upset. He was actually listening to me and was seeing where I was coming from. Right when we were getting good and building a better relationship, I came over for dinner, and he asked if we could integrate his wife and Lily into therapy, and I told him that I had no interest in having a relationship with them. She called me a selfish, and that I need to be grateful that she let me stay with them after she moved in. I waited for my dad to correct her, and he was silent pretty much, so I left, and I haven't talked to him in almost a month. He keeps showing me that he will not be on my side. So, to wrap things up, the cabin trip was so much fun. I have never felt so free from a burden. The trip was in June, and we were there for almost a month. We extended it. When I was packing for school, my dad came to visit, and I guess his wife called. And he had to lie about where he was because I guess she doesn't want him to see me. So I told him, we don't need to have contact right now or continue therapy because it's clear which part of his family he cares more about. I don't know what's going to become of my dad, and right now I don't care. I'm focused on school and studying to become a nurse. I don't want any negativity to ruin this experience, but I'd be lying if I said it doesn't hurt that I don't have a parent to experience this with. But my aunt says she is my surrogate mom, and to share all my worries and success with her. I am currently in my first week of college, and the amount of freedom I feel here is also so new. I am a little overwhelmed, but I am in an honors club. I also am in a creative writing book club, and the friends I have made are so amazing. I am currently living on campus, and I have never been better mentally. I am getting separate therapy to deal with my mom's death, because that was never offered to me by my dad. My aunt has truly become a mother figure to me. Being 2 states away from her is really hard, but I can't wait for weekend visits and holiday visits. Also, another thing is that I'm going to be a godmother. My aunt was told at 22 that she would never be able to have kids, and she is currently 4 months pregnant, and I'm so excited because if anybody is going to be a good mother, I know it's going to be her. When she came to visit and tell me, I think she saw I was a little worried. I told her I am so excited and happy for her and nothing will change that. But she's the only family I have right now, and don't want to get left behind like I did at home, and we cried, and she promised me that she was filling in for my mom and she will be there for the rest of my life. Whether I like it or not. I am planning the baby shower and I can't wait for the baby to be here. But yeah, that's it. Thank all for checking up on me and giving me encouraging words.